Great British Week in the McLaren Pit Garage, which is part of the BIC. And I'm talking to the driver of the new P1. Duncan, how long have you been driving this thing?
Well, I've been involved with the P1 project for a few years now, and it's great to see it here, really showing what it can do out on the circuit.
It's great British weather today. You've just done a test. We've got you on film. Does that scare the pants off you?
I wouldn't say scare, but it definitely gets your heart racing. There's a few standing water sections out there, and the car copes with it amazingly well, considering how much water there is. Like you say, we brought the British weather with us, and but the car was just always so much fun to drive.
What speed were you doing when you went past the front there?
Just under 300 kilometers. So, considering how short the straight is, to be doing that kind of speed, not really pushing that hard, really just demonstration. It's one hell of a car.
He's saying it'll do more than that.
It absolutely will be. The car is limited to 350 kilometers, and that's because it's been designed to go in a track as quickly as possible. And the downforce levels on the P1 is really comparable to a GT3 race car. So that's something pretty special.
Now, we've talked about the McLaren here, but we haven't mentioned the actual model of the McLaren here. This one you're driving is the
P1.
How long has that been available now?
Well, it's really only just gone into production. The first owners received the car not so long ago. And it's taken quite a lot of time in preparation and a lot of development work to get it where it is now. It's a lot of hard work for many years.
This car, the P1, supersedes this one, yeah? This one here.
Yeah, this is this little baby brother. This is the 12C, and obviously a lot of people know the McLaren brand for that now. It preceded the F1, which was back about 20 years ago now, and it just shows where McLaren are going with their production cars. They want to be around for a long time.
You told me you've been driving since you were 10 years old. Where did you start that?
Well, like many racing drivers, you start in karting, and I was very lucky to be able to have that opportunity when I was younger, and moved on through the ranks. I was also British champion in a pretty good class. So now I'm racing GT cars, and very, very proud to have raced the McLaren GT3 car for the last 2 years now.
Do you do bungee jumping and skydiving and things like that?
Not as a hobby, but I have done a skydive.
Why do you do it? I mean, there's a scare factor to this, isn't there?
That wasn't my choice. That was on my stag do, so I had to do it. But I think, if racing's in your blood, it's just what you do. I look at like motorcyclists and think they're crazy. I can do that on two wheels, but if you're on four and it's something I know, it's just something I've always done.
This is a pretty big ambition you've achieved here. Anything more than this?
Well, I'd love to be with McLaren as their driver for many years to come, and I'd love to somewhere along the line race at McLaren race at Le Mans with McLaren. So that's my ultimate goal, really.
Last question: have you had any particularly unpleasant, scary moments?
In your racing career, you do. If you don't, you're not trying hard enough. But you're always trying to obviously keep it safe, and there's no point in crashing. You won't get the points at the end of the race. So there are times in your career when you have those dodgy moments, but you learn from them, and it makes you a better driver.
I want to ask one question. When you're driving behind someone in a race, F1, whatever you're on now, the guy in front of you is deliberately trying to stop you passing.
Well, that's part of the game. A very clever art is to be able to defend well, and if the person in front of you is doing that well, you're going to find it hard to get past. But then when you do get past, it makes it that little bit, bit better.
But you've got a very even temperament. You don't ever lose your temper, do you? And say, hey, you, and
not necessarily in a car. It's like I say, it's where I feel at home. But maybe if I'm on the golf course or something like that, then the temper can sometimes get away from me.
Thanks very much, Duncan. Great man. Thanks. There you are, Duncan, at the racetrack. More coming.